Hi ladies! Today we're going to make a really fun coffee cup card. I have been wanting to make this card for a really long time, and so I decided to finally make it happen. So what I did is I went on the internet and I googled coffee cups, and I came up with several designs, and some I could print, some I couldn't, but I found one that I liked the shape. So I printed it off, I cut it out, that's right, I just cut it out, and I measured it on my cutting board. So that is how I got the dimensions for my coffee cup. So we're going to go ahead and make this fun card. Now you'll notice that this says a Whole Latte Love. Lattes are one of my favorites. But this new stamp is from the Pattern Occasions in the Celebration mini catalog. Really excited about Celebration. For every $50 purchase before shipping and tax, you can get one of these awesome items for free. That's right. So it is one of our most anticipated sales. And today we are going to use the Patterned Occasions stamp set. So I just love it, and I love it, a Whole Latte Love. All right, so I'm gonna go ahead and get started. What do you need to make this card? It's honestly very easy. You'll see that we've got very vanilla cardstock. I've also got chocolate chip in here, and I used the square lattice to make this fabulous texture. Super easy with your Big Shot. I've also got crumb cake. That's my cup, and I used the textured crumb cake. It really kind of looks more like a cup. I really like it. And then of course here you'll see that I used the new Stampin' Up! Fabric that's in the Occasions mini catalog. And I'll actually kind of look at it here real quick and I'll tell you exactly where it is. It is the Valentine fabric, and I love using fabric, more designed fabric. So yeah, it is beautiful. Love it. And so I wanted it to look kind of like a koozie, I guess you could say. So I went ahead, and to prep my fabric, I took the fabric and I set it face down. I ironed it really good, made it super flat. And then I took some fabric adhesive that Stampin' Up! Sells. I put the sticky side down onto the fabric and I ironed it on. And you can see here that this still has the contact paper on it. And so before we glue it down, you can literally peel this contact paper off and iron it onto cardstock, or you can, or you can just use it how we're going to use it today. But I'll show you that here shortly. And then I've also got Marina Mist in here, and then I used Real Red and chocolate chip to color my coffee cup. So this card's pretty easy to do. Let's go ahead and get started. All of the dimensions for this card will be on brandyscards.com, and I will spell it all out for you. So don't worry, I'm not going to worry about dimensions right here, but there will be a link in the description that you can see that. So we're going to take our very vanilla cardstock, we're going to fold it in half, super easy. The next thing we're going to do is we're going to pull in our chocolate chip. Now this piece I have already run through my Big Shot, so I've already prepped this to save time. I used the square lattice embossing folder. Love Stampin' Up's embossing folders. They are just worth every bit of the $7 that they cost. Awesome. So that's pretty much it. So now what we're going to do is we are going to pull in the coffee cup. Now, what I did, again, is I printed a coffee cup that I liked, I cut it out, and then I measured it, and it basically came out to 4 1/4 by 3. Now, in order to make that coffee cup, this is kind of the tricky part. We're going to go ahead and set it down, set it down where your 3 edge is basically at the bottom of your cutting board, and then you're going to move it to the right 1/2 of an inch. So you want to make sure that the point of your cardstock is on the line, your cutting line, and then you're going to move it. So that's how you're going to create that diagonal, that perfect cup diagonal, I should say. So we're going to go ahead and do that. We're going to open our cutting board, and this is the tricky part, and it gets me every single time. So we're going to flip it all the way over, and we're going to line it up at 3 again. Now this time we're lining the 3 up at the top of the cutting board, and we're going to do the exact same thing. We're going to come in, and actually versus going to the right this time, we're going to take the bottom edge and bring that out 1/2 of an inch. We're going to set that down. And you just have to remember that it looks weird, it feels weird, but you want to make sure that your coffee cup is coming down to the center, to a point. If it's not, and you're going the other way, you're going to get a funky cup, and you'll be like, huh, okay. So anyway, there we have it. There's our cup. It was really easy, right? The next thing you're going to do is I went ahead and pre-cut just a couple of strips. You know when you go to Starbucks and you get those great cups and you know, at the top you always have a nice little lid for them and that sort of thing. So what I did is I wanted to try to create that lid, or recreate that lid I should say. And so what I did is I basically just cut some cardstock is really all I did. And I just kept cutting until I found something that looked kind of like it. So what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and take Stampin' Dimensionals and let's put our coffee cup down. And you know what? Before we do that, let's back up one step. Let's take our koozie. So when you iron your fabric adhesive onto your fabric, and then here on the back you've got this contact paper. Well, the neat thing is you can totally cut this in your cutting board, and it cuts like paper. It cuts fabulous. But to make it easier at my stamp camp, I just went ahead and cut these in squares for the ladies that I knew it would fit their cup. And I let the ladies do the trimming. So what I'm going to do is I am going to line my koozie up with my cup. I'm going to flip it over so I can see the lines. And I'm just going to cut the koozie down to size. Is what I'm going to do. And it should cut really, really easy, especially if your scissors are clean. Mine go through quite a lot of abuse, so they need to be cleaned. And so you're just going to cut it. And you could honestly, you could line it up in your cutting board and cut it in your cutting board too. This is just honestly just as easy, really. And so we're just going to cut this real quick. There we go. And you know, and I didn't really mind the fabric fraying. When you glue the fabric adhesive down, that kind of helps for the fraying, that it doesn't fray. But I don't really mind it, honestly. So then what we're going to do is we're going to pull the contact paper off the back of our fabric. And now we have a koozie. So I'm just going to move some of this stuff out of my way here. We're going to add Stampin' Dimensionals to the back of our cup. I would go ahead and put at least 5 so that your cup doesn't sag there in the middle. So I do at least 5. And we're going to go ahead and then we're going to take all the little pop dots off the back because these are, you know, two-way sticky dots. Then we're going to stick it to the top of our card. Alright, so we're just going to put it right here. Line it up. You still want some of the bottom of your chocolate chip to show. So you don't want to totally hide that, okay? And you know, you could do one of two things. You can iron this onto your cup and it'll fit perfectly. Or, you know, you can put pop dots underneath it and pop it up. Or you can use mini glue dots. So any way you want to do that will work perfectly fine. I think on this one, it looks like I used pop dots and popped it up a little bit. But I think just for all intents and purposes, I'm going to go ahead, because I think it'll be easier and faster, just to go ahead and grab some mini glue dots. Now you're going to want to make sure you put them all the way around. So you're going to have to put a few on there. So don't, you know, make sure you get all the corners for sure. And then of course into the center. So we're going to go ahead and just set this here and we're going to place it on our cup where we like it. And we should have a koozie. A very pretty Valentine koozie. Okay. Alright, and now what I'm going to do is pull in the top of my cup. Now I can already see that I may have cut this piece a little thick. So I'm going to pull in my cutting board, just real quick here. And I did this piece, it looks like at a half. I don't really want a half, I need it a little bit smaller than that. So I think I'm just going to cut, you know, maybe an 1/8 off of that. Or a little bit more. And so we're just going to cut that piece just like such. That's much, much better. Okay. So we're going to set that aside. So basically all I did for the lid is I just rounded my corners. So I rounded the top corner, that's it. And then I rounded it on the other side, just like such. And then I took my, my small little piece, which is right here, and I did the exact same thing. I rounded the corner, just like such, like that. And then I rounded this corner. Now, there is no right or wrong way to do this. It's not supposed to be difficult. So, you know, don't worry too much about it. Set your card down, and then you're going to take your Stampin' Dimensionals, and I am going to put them right here behind my lid. And I think what I did, because I wanted it flush with my cup, is I put my Stampin' Dimensionals on the top of my cup. Okay? So I will show you exactly what I'm talking about here. I took the Stampin' Dimensionals and I put them along this top edge. And I put 3, and I did that again so that it would be flush. All right, so we're just going to go ahead and set our coffee cup lid down just like that. We're doing good so far. And then on the next piece, I went ahead and just glued that layer down. You can totally see that there's another layer of a cup, the lid there. So I would just go ahead and glue that right down and not worry about it. And you can change the sizes if you want, of course. But I liked that look of that layered coffee cup look. So far so good. We're doing good. All right. The next thing is I used the large scallop circle to punch out a scallop circle, and then I used some just some very vanilla cardstock, scrap cardstock. You're going to take your Whole Latte Love, and I'm going to pull in real red and some chocolate chip. So what we're going to do is we're going to just color our cup with the chocolate chip. And you can make your cup any color that you would like. I was just kind of playing on the reds and the red and the brown in this cup. So I went ahead and kept it with those colors. But you can absolutely switch it up if you would like. There's no problem there. And so let's just kind of color that, get it all good and colored. And then once we do that, we're going to stamp that onto our cardstock, just like that. Perfect. There you go. And it appears that I forgot the punch, so I'm just going to come over here and grab the right punch. And I'm not sure which one it is exactly. So let's see here. I think that it is not that one. It is actually your 1 3/4 circle punch. FYI. All right. So we're going to go ahead and we're just going to punch that out, line that up in there, punch it out. Perfect. And then we're going to glue our cup right here in the center of our scallop. Okay? And now I do like things popped up, so I would recommend putting some Stampin' Dimensionals underneath this at this point and put it on top of your koozie on your cup. And they do stick pretty good to the fabric as well. So I think you'll have good luck with that. But you definitely want to put 3 or 4 on there. So don't just try to get away with 1 or 2. I would put 3 or 4 on there. So I'm going to go ahead and center my little koozie or my scallop on the koozie there. And now the very last thing that I did is we have this red glimmer paper. It's fantastic. Love it. I used my owl punch. I wanted a heart to go on this card. I thought about glitter and a few other things and gems, but I thought that if I could get a heart that would fit inside the heart of the stamp, that would be awesome. So I went ahead and used the owl punch, and I'm just going to put a little dab of glue right here in this heart, and then I'm going to stick my glimmered heart right there in the center, just like that. It's perfect. I love it. Now the very last thing we're going to do is we're going to grab another scrap piece. And at my stamp camp, a lot of the girls said, well, do you have a punch or do you have something for the little banner? Well, yes, you can absolutely use a punch or a framelit or something like that if you find the right size. But really, this is so small that I just found it was pretty easy to freehand it. So I just colored with some brown right onto the stamp. And I'm just going to stamp Whole Latte Love. If the first time you stamp it, it's kind of a little, sometimes it gets a little dark, I would just stamp it a second time. And I wouldn't worry too much about that. And then just freehand cut your Whole Latte Love. I just cut straight across, and then I did a little triangle here, and then I cut straight across, and I kind of made it look like a banner. And if it's a little uneven, it's so little that I don't think anybody would even notice. So I wouldn't worry one bit about it, okay? And then the very last thing that I did is I added the Whole Latte Love to the front of my card. So I'm going to use a mini glue dot because it's just easier. Sometimes I roll the mini glue dots. You could use a Stampin' Dimensional too, of course. All of the edges would work. You would just have to cut it to size. But they all do work, whatever you would like. and then we're going to stick it right over the Whole Latte Love. It just adds a little bit of dimension to the card when you pop it up. So there you go. There we have it. So for those of you that enjoy your morning cup of joe or your tea, I hope that you have a Whole Latte Love today. And thank you for stopping by and joining us. And I hope that you have a great afternoon. Thanks again.